Hello, I am Walter Ploos van Amstel and I'm a professor in city logistics at the Amsterdam University of Applied Sciences. How did COVID hit Amsterdam city logistics? Let's first explain city logistics in Amsterdam. 1/3 of city logistics is construction related, a quarter of city logistics is related to food service, horeca, 20% is related to retail, food and non-food, then there's some facility, and there's a lot of waste. Waste was big impacted by COVID. Last but not least, 7% of city logistics in Amsterdam is parcels. Half of them going to businesses, half of them going to consumers. We've seen major changes. First change was we have much more waste in Amsterdam because the household waste is a separate system and household waste went up with 50%. One lesson learned there is we need to go to more on-demand waste collection because the streets were filled up with a lot of waste. Number two, parcels. Parcels changed. We buy more online, 50% more parcels in the past months, not even 50% more, they're also bigger, about 15% more size because we order bigger things. At the same time, the business-to-business volume dropped. For the parcel providers that focus on the consumer market, like DHL, PostNL, this was a challenge. It's like Christmas starting March 13, and today it's still Christmas. Huge volumes going to our consumers. Also, many returns by that. What we've seen is an increase in the number of people picking up parcels at picker points. Parcels, a company in Amsterdam collaborating with UPS, saw an increase of 100% in the number of parcels picked up. That's an interesting development. Another development was the move from food service to food retail. Since we didn't eat out of home anymore, we started eating at home. So we saw that food service went down with 90%. That's a challenge because most food service companies have transport on own account, trucks standing still, people being idle. And in food retail, we saw an increase of 30 to 40% just because we eat more at home. And that was a challenge. Now, the challenge was matched by using data. What we saw was the traditional companies doing food distribution to retail used staff from food service companies, and so they collaborated, used the trucks from these companies in order to fulfill the requirements of the stores. So we saw a change in volume from one distribution channel to the other. And thanks to data, they could cope with that. There was not a single day that the stores were empty in Amsterdam. Very interesting experience. Also what we saw is that we bought more food online. E-groceries was a hype. It doubled in the first days of COVID, and companies like Albert Heijn, Jumbo, Picnic could not manage that. So they said to new customers, sorry, we can't accept you. And they said to their existing customers, sorry, you cannot order like every day. You can only order once every week, and even in some areas, only once every 2 weeks. That helped. That's an interesting challenge. If this volume increase in e-groceries will still be there if we're all going to work again. Today, 70% of the people in Amsterdam work at the office or at the construction site or in the retail stores again. Looking at retail, we saw that retail dropped like 80% in March and April. What we now see is a huge increase in retail. And in May, we've seen that retail has 8% more sales than last year's May. So we see that picking up. So COVID impacted city logistics in a big way, from one distribution channel to the other. It impacted a big way. Many parcels in business to business, to more parcels in business to consumer. We've seen that collaboration is key to keeping the city resilient and that you need to share data. There's also a role for government. What the Dutch government did was, in many of the cities in the Netherlands, take away the time windows. You could ship 24 hours, you could even ship in the night, which was very helpful. And at the same time, they changed labor regulations so that truck drivers can spend more hours on the road. That was very helpful. One remark, things are changing, of course. Economy is coming back slowly. Never know what's going to happen in the next half year. One of the sectors that's has a big impact from COVID is the tourism industry. All the bars, restaurants, hotels. So the government is now giving them more room to create terraces. If you create a terrace, you need to create more room for people on bikes and people walking because the sidewalks will disappear. So what we now see in Amsterdam, but in many cities in the Netherlands, is that this under half a meter economy, the 1.5 meter economy, is putting a lot of new limitations on city logistics again. Time windows are back, and most streets you cannot ship anymore after 11 in the afternoon. So COVID and city logistics, good news, we're back in business. But the business has changed, and we should learn from all the examples we had in sharing capacities, not doing all logistics yourselves, but leaving it to professional logistic companies. Things will change. Have a good conference.